Hi, my name's Chloe and this is my story.
So last year, where I really figured out that I needed help, I felt this because I was just so sad. There's no other word to describe it than being sad. I was so overwhelmed by everything. The way I described it to my counsellor was a whole wave of emotion just completely suffocating you. Everything, literally from the smallest, tiniest things to what I would class as big, just got to me all in one go. And I just didn't know what to do with myself, where to put myself. Like, I was struggling to go to work, I was struggling to keep in contact with friends and family. I was just so sad and had no motivation to do anything whatsoever. I pushed so many people away because I just was so stuck in my own thoughts that I forgot really how to cope. So this was going on for months, and I couldn't get this wave of emotion to go away. I couldn't get it to shift. Instead, it just got worse as each day went on, just wanting to hurt myself and just not wanting to be here anymore. Like, the only way I felt I could escape was to leave this world. I just didn't want to be here anymore. I just felt like that was literally the only way that I would ever get better, because I just wanted to be numb. I didn't want to feel anything anymore. I just wanted to completely shut down from reality and just stop. I knew I was strong. I knew that I could overcome this thing. But at the time, like, I was just so tired of fighting my own head day in and day out. I never ever felt enough during this period. Like, I always felt like not enough and not worthy of anything. Like, I was so ashamed of myself. I felt so ugly within myself, and I didn't feel loved. Like, even though I knew my family and my friends like loved me so much, when you're stuck in this bubble of negativity in your head, I just felt like I'm never going to be enough for anyone. I just wanted to get better on my own as well. Like, I always had like this thought of like, you know, strong, independent woman. Like, I was like, oh, you know, like, I'm not going to ask for help. There's people out there go through much worse than me, and they need that place more than I do. And I was determined that I was going to pull through and I was going to get through this on my own, and, you know, like, I'll be okay. But each day I would gradually start to deteriorate to the point where every time I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't even know who I was anymore. The sparkle in my eye went. I used to be called the rare sunshine in the family, and that went. Everyone was like, where's our rare sunshine gone? All my interests just left. Like, I have a crystal shelf and the dust that piled up on there because I didn't have the motivation to get back into what I once really loved. Before this happened, I was very positive, a very positive person. You know, like, I was always the one giving everyone advice, and I was always the one like, oh, you know, like, it's okay, you only live once, like, just be the best version of yourself you could be. I was always like better at giving advice than I was taking advice. That is when I knew I needed help. I remember sitting at a car park on my own, bawling my eyes out, and I called the doctors and I was like, I need help. I just called enough and just be like, I need help. That was when it really sunk into me, like, what was going on. It was scary. Like, I never thought I would have to go through something like this, and they were actually very helpful. They messaged me a massive list of places that I can apply, and I literally applied for everything, absolutely everything. My counsellor was one of the reasons why I'm still here today, and I cannot thank her enough for the time that she put in to helping me get better. But there was that sigh of relief of just thinking, I've done it. I've done the worst. I've applied. I've called the doctors. It's literally just the fact of trying to get myself a little bit better in between actually being able to speak to someone. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was many more breakdowns and many more tears, But I knew I had to keep strong for me. I had so much to live for, so much to see and achieve. I couldn't let this beat me. There was, in the back of my head, I knew there's no way I am going to let this beat me. You know, I have not come this far in life to just end it all. Each day where it got harder, I knew I achieved waking up that day. I achieved whether or not going to work, whether or not that's just eating a little bit of breakfast, lunch, dinner, just standing up in the morning, you know. That in itself was a massive achievement, and anyone who suffers, anyone who does the smallest little task, you know, you should be so proud of yourself. I look back at when the day I left my counselling, and I could do nothing but smile, because I that Chloe that once was before all this happened, she was coming out again. And you know, I was so happy. I was like, everyone, like, I finished my counselling, like I'm doing like a lot better now. Like, speaking really helps. Advice, like my counsellor would tell me just to do like little activities in the day, like journaling helps an absolute ton. It was so helpful. Things like, also like when you go for your daily walk, your 5 senses, what can you smell, what can you hear, what can you feel, like all that kind of stuff. Like, I know it sounds like, oh, silly, like, you know, you're not, like, you think you're looking silly walking around and just, you know, doing your 5 senses, but just being in touch with reality. I think we get so stuck in social media, on your phone, you don't actually take time out of your day just to be stuck in the now. How much, like, do you realise, wow, like, life is actually an incredible thing, you know. You're background characters in everyone else's life, but you're the main character in your own, and you have no idea, like, what anyone else is going through. And it's just crazy to think that everyone has their own story. Like, I love going to Holy Wells Park and feeding the ducks. Like, that was literally my favourite thing to do. Just being in nature, being in the water, and just feeding the ducks. Like, that really, 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 really helped me during, like, when I was sad. So, about a week ago from this day, did I come off my antidepressants, because I actually have felt myself and so happy recently, and that moment in itself was a massive achievement. So to be able to have come off my antidepressants, finish counselling, and to look at myself in the mirror now and to be able to see that girl I once was, is something that makes me smile and makes me happy, because there is hope. There is hope of getting better. It was life-changing. It was like mad how I didn't want to be here anymore. I was thinking about suicide constantly, every second of every day, having plans in my head of how I was going to do it the easiest way, the less painful way, to then someone who has come out the other end and sees the light and, you know, has gone through, who can now sit here and talk about her journey. I never want anyone to ever have to sit there alone and to battle their own thoughts. That is horrible. I think it's important to speak up about mental health and to speak out about mental health, because I think life is very valuable, and I would never want anybody to sit there and to, you know, be stuck in their thoughts all day. But just remember that you're all strong, you're all worthy, you're all enough, and you all deserve to live this life. You should never be ashamed of speaking out to anybody about how you feel. I think everybody should have that support system in their life where you could go up to somebody and say, hey, I'm not doing good today, I'm just feeling a bit sad, I'm feeling a bit depressed. It is so important to speak to whoever you can, whether it's professional or not, doesn't matter. Everybody should feel safe to be able to speak about how they feel. It's something that I think should be more spoken about as well. I feel like people are very scared to speak about how they actually feel when they're feeling down. Honestly, you shouldn't. Honestly, just anytime you feel down, anytime, speak up and speak out, because it's very, very important just to feel a weight lifted off your shoulders.